Hello, viola players. So I want to spend a few moments talking about how I have rearranged your music. A couple weeks ago, I updated the copies of the music that you're playing on in an effort to make it a little easier to read and specifically to help you figure out which string you're going to be on. It's a very, very important part of playing. You only have four strings, but if you're on the wrong one, things will definitely sound off. So I am showing you right now the green belt, the first couple lines of green belt, and I'm not going to go over absolutely every single note in this song. For the actual song, of course, you can refer to the other videos where I'm actually demonstrating it. But I want to just go over how I've written it on the page. Now, for all intents and purposes, really does look like regular music. Obviously, it's more colorful, but that's kind of nice. But I've given you some extra information to help you, and I want to make sure that you're able to get just sort of the general rules that I have put in here to help you. So, an Old MacDonald Had a String, the Greenbelt song. We're going to first take a look over here at the left, and we see we have three letters, an A, a D, and a G. I didn't add the C, which for the C string. These are all open strings. I didn't add the C because we don't have any notes on the C string until red belt, I believe. I didn't add that at this point. And actually, we don't even have any notes on the G string in this song either. But in updating previous belts, where you do play on the G string, and like Land of the Silver Birch, you're plucking on the G string. So that information would have been there. But also, I want you to see that we do have notes that have sort of the same names as open strings, and although it's confusing a little bit, we want to be able to tell one from the other. So the next thing I want to talk about is this gray area. This little band that goes across from left to right. And if you're looking at the letters that I've put in on the left, you see that the letter D is in that gray area, right? And that means that the notes that are in there are on the D string. And everything that is completely in the gray is going to be on the D string. And the notes that are a little bit hard to tell are actually like the first three notes. Those first three blue notes. And the blue notes, of course, are third finger. What you'll need to remember is that they are on the D string. They're not quite completely in the gray. They're halfway in the gray. But we know they're on the D string because look over here where the A is, and you see the A is up above that top line. Well, those blue notes are not up above the top line. They're just below. They're on the top line, which is not quite high enough to be on the A string. So that's why they have to be on the D string. You can't play them on the A string. It's impossible to play them on the A string. So those blue notes are going to be on the D string. In fact, all of the notes of that entire first line are going to be on the D string because the blue ones I just talked about and everything else that follows it, the black ones, which are open strings, the red ones, which are first finger, those are all in the gray. In the second line, we see a couple notes, actually four notes. The words underneath, well, not really words, the letters underneath say B, B, A, A. B is actually the name of the note. That's why I changed the words a little bit from the original. But they have to be played on the A string because what we look at for the note is what we call the note head, which is the oval part of it. And in this case, it's the part that's red. Actually, the first two are so high that they go up above the staff a little bit, and we have to attach them to these little extra lines, which help tell us exactly how much higher they go. So they have to be on the A string. Now, the nice thing about viola is everything that is completely above that top line, is always on the A string, and I shouldn't say always. Eventually there will be sometimes when you can substitute, but for right now, everything you're going to see, certainly for the first few years of playing, are going to be done on the A string. That includes the two notes that are called B's and the two notes that are called A's, right? A string, the note A's. Makes sense, right? And then the note that is usually the hardest to remember is the blue one that follows. Now, it's exactly the same note that we started the piece with. So, right, that should clue us in right away about how to play it. But often what we forget is to go back to the D string to play it. Okay? Now, again, keep in mind, it's a step lower than the open A that came just before it. So we can't play that on the A string. We have to go back to the D string. And the name of that note is called a G. It's not the G string, because see where the G is over on the left there? That's where the G string note is, way down there in that bottom space. This is way up top on the top line, different G. We use these letters more than once. It's not meant to confuse you. If it does, yeah, sorry. At least you know that there's only a few letters you have to keep track of. So there, we have that advantage. Now, one other way of making sure that you're getting this part of it correct. Now, I'm going to sing with the letters that are here, and I'm also going to sing with the original song as well, so we can kind of compare to that, because that's the value of learning this piece at this level is most people do know Old MacDonald. So if the way that you're playing it sounds like this, B, B, A, A, G, where it goes up at the end, that can't be correct, because it doesn't sound right, right? That would be like saying, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, right? We're not asking a question about him. We're singing E-I-E-I-O. We know he had a farm. Or in this case, we know he has a string. So if you hear it going up at the end, then chances are you're putting your third finger on the blue tape, but on the wrong string. You might be doing it on the A string by accident. So we want to, in order to get that lower sound in it, B, B, A, A, G, to get that G, we have to go back to the D string to do it. So if you listen to what you play, right, it's always important to do that. The musician's number one skill is to listen to what you play. Then you'll be able to tell if that last one is on the right string or not. Okay, and then you do have an open D at the end of that line as well. That just takes you into the next line. If you're able to get the B, B, A, A, G part of it, or the E, I, E, I, O as it is in the original, the rest of the song is really not too difficult. It's just making it sound like Old MacDonald. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the purple belt. Purple belt has almost all the same information. There's a few extra things. One thing, we have this thing that says 3/4. Don't worry about that right now. That's not as important for learning the song. We still have the open strings. We still have this gray band. We still have notes that are black, red, and blue. Now, the one thing that's a little bit different is a few of the blue notes are not completely filled. Actually, there's a couple red ones and black ones as well. And that has nothing to do with how you play. Which fingering you use or what string you're on. What it has to do with is rhythm, and you're just making those longer notes. So I would refer you to the videos that I made of those to really get a sense of how to play that accurately. But again, just show you how we use that's the same rules for reading this. Speed, Bonnie, boat, like. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 words, or the first 5 notes, speed, Bonnie, boat, like, all on the D string. Why? Because they're all in the gray, right? Remember, the blue ones, if they're half in the gray, they're considered in the gray. Bird on the wing have to be on the A string, because they're all, the note heads are all up above the gray area. They're all from that where the open A is and higher. Again, notice that the blue is now, in this case, is even higher up. I've had to add a second line to get it just higher. It's like putting a ladder up to get it off the top shelf or something like that. So being a high looking note, it's going to be a high sounding note compared to the blue ones for boat and like that are on the top main line there. Right, two different ranges. In the next line, onward those 3 notes happen to be on the A string. Why? Because the note heads are up above the gray. But sailors and cry are back in the gray. Therefore, D string. Okay? So eventually you won't have this little gray area, but when you get to brown belt, you won't have it. And from that point forward, the purpose of it is so you get used to seeing notes in a general area, like high or low within the staff. So again, violas, everything that's above that top line, A string. Everything that's in the upper part of the staff is usually going to be D string. Right? We're going to get used to seeing them there as the information gets to be a little bit less helpful. We will. I mean, you're never not going to know where it is, but some of these extra little support services will be reduced a little bit. So we're looking to see where the band is, as much as what's in it and what's not. Okay, so it's an idea of here are notes that are D string. Above it are notes that are on the A string. And when we have notes that are below it, and those would be on the G string. So I hope that helps. I want you to be successful with this, and I hope that this will clarify. If you have any questions, please be sure to contact me, and I'd be very, very happy to spend some more time, especially with videos. I have a lot more time to do videos than I actually do teaching individually in the lessons. So I'm very happy to do this for you. All right, take care.